What's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to Atlas Theory. This is another week of Theory Craft, and today I brought on Don Kane from the Atlessio family. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing well. Good to hear. Um,
Awesome.
so today we wanted to actually come on and talk about Mafia lore in the metaverse. I know that you were one of the first people I talked to ever about the importance of lore. So I wanted to bring you on and yeah, jump into some of that and what your deck's doing with all of it.
The Mafia, man. I think that's so we kind of have this philosophy that and actually I'm writing the version 2 of the white paper right now to kind of emphasize this what I'm about to say.
Hmm.
We kind of have like this philosophy that gaming guilds are going to be the businesses of the future, right? So when you think of Apple and Amazon and all these corporations, right? I think
Mhm.
that these are what people think of when they think of going to work and getting a job, right? Is these corporations. And I think in the future what we're going to see is decentralized autonomous organizations where people are they have more ownership of the actual company, right? And they have more of a say in what happens. And I think that we're so early in this space that DAOs are kind of just they're in like in their infancy stage.
Yeah.
And I think that um, as we develop, as we go into the future, we're going to see these DAOs eventually become the large corporations, the large employment, so to speak, factories, right? Um, and one thing that we're making a bet on is that the metaverse is going to be where a lot of these DAOs operate, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of these DAOs are going to be making revenue by playing blockchain video games,
Right.
and and I think what comes with that is let's take all of these assumptions and say that we're 10, 15, 20 years in the future. um, I think that there's going to be a huge emphasis placed on gamification, right? So when someone is looking around to where they want to go work, or what organization they want to be a part of, um, they're going to put a large emphasis on how do I feel whenever I enter this organization, right? It's like
Mhm.
there's going to be options for people to make money all over the place, right? And I
Right.
think that what you're going to see is the largest, most successful organizations are going to have extremely developed gamification, and I think that starts with lore,
Mm.
right? I think when someone comes into, let's use the Atlessio family as an example. When
Okay.
someone comes into the Atlessio family, they understand that if they move themselves up the ranks, they can become a mob boss, right? And
Mhm.
that's, I think, to me, when I'm sitting here thinking, and no shade to Avocado Guild for what I'm about to say, but I'm sitting here thinking, if I was someone looking for a guild, looking for a decentralized autonomous organization to go be a part of, would I rather be an avocado or would I rather be a mob boss? Right. So I think this idea of lore and gamification, it's kind of huge. It's going to be a huge determining factor for where people go once these organizations become really, really large and integrated into the broader society.
Mhm. No, I definitely agree with you. And I love planning it out, in my head and, thinking, both from a DAC side and also like what your DAC members, they could become characters of their own. There could be whole brands built around, each of
Seriously.
these,
Oh yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think what's going to be interesting to see is the decentralization of IP. So
Mhm.
Star Atlas and all other metaverses are really, really early, and I think their main focus is on blockchain infrastructure, right? They want to get that. They want to get that right, because if they don't get that right, they're going to fail.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that eventually we're going to see some kind of, and actually Jimmy may be a better person to ask about this, but we're going to see some kind of decentralized IP, right? Because what you just mentioned, we're already seeing in the Atlessio family, and we're seeing like we're not only seeing it from guild members wanting to make their own lore, but
Hmm.
we also see it from the perspective of we want to figure out a way to use Star Atlas and other metaverses IP in our own lore, right? Because I feel
Right.
like the integration of the two lores, it matters when you're spending all of your time, excuse me, in one of these metaverses. Uh,
Yeah.
and so right now, like I said, we have members that are creating their own lore. So one of our actually just recently promoted to Capo Regime,
Mhm.
he goes by the Bootneck on Twitter and Discord. He's creating the Bootneck lore, right? And
Okay.
and since he is in the organization, he's taking bits and pieces from the Atlessio lore to incorporate into his own, right? And that kind of expands the reach as well, right? Because it's not just Atlessio family members that follow Bootneck on Twitter, right? It's the
Mhm.
people that know him and like him and want to read his stuff. So it basically just expands the reach of everything. It's really cool. It's kind of like a popcorn mechanic or something,
Yeah, no, no, it really is. And you're touching on one of my biggest questions when I was first looking into, IP and wanting to write, in the Star Atlas metaverse. It's like, now, what happens, how can I use their materials, but wait, mine also go that way. Like
Exactly.
this is a whole new world
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
difficult. It's difficult. One thing, so I have spoken with one of I think he's the IP guy
Hmm.
for Star Atlas, and he was basically saying they're working right now on a way to allow community members to use the Star Atlas IP.
Hmm.
Now, the way I think it's going to go, because this is just basically infrastructure of IP, how it kind of works everywhere else, is I think right now, if you are creating content that isn't producing some kind of revenue, you're free to use it in whatever you want. I mean, clearly you
Right.
can't slander. I think there's a few disclaimers, right? You can't slander. You can't say that Star Atlas is participating in illegal activities, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think if you're using it in a, for lack of a better word, wholesome way, and you're not making revenue on it, it's basically free game.
Hmm.
Um, Now, where it becomes difficult and nuanced is all of the organizations that want to use the IP are essentially businesses, right? Like we kind of touched on that with the DAOs. Like these are businesses that are going to earn serious revenue. In fact, I'm making the bet that these are going to be the standard in the future, right? We're not going to see
Right.
Apples and Amazons. We're going to see Amarnas and Atlessio families, right?
Hmm.
And so it becomes difficult when you think of it from that perspective, because what's going to end up having to happen is they're going to have some kind of licensing agreement, and it's probably going to be it may even indeed be some kind of revolutionary licensing agreement, right? Because just of
Hmm.
the nature of the metaverse, like people are going to want to have that brand synergy, right? They're going to want to
Right.
construct entire brands around the Star Atlas IP. So there's got to be some kind of licensing agreement. Maybe it's on the blockchain. I don't know. But what'll end up happening likely is like a percentage of revenue made or something. And I don't know this for sure. I'm kind of just talking,
Yeah.
talking freely. I don't know any of this for sure. I'm just saying it. What it probably looks like is some kind of licensing agreement. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I kind of came to like the same idea. Like eventually there's just gonna be a locked in percent. Like, yeah, you build on top. If everything's, good, maybe we have a DAO vote, Star Atlas DAO,
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
But then yeah, it's just locked in percentages,
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
you sell.
Yep.
Um
Exactly.
now kind of going off that, there's, like you said, there's going to be, the in-game businesses and then the lore. How are you guys at Alessio? I know you touch on this a little bit in the white paper, but how are you like separating that like old mafia, um idea with how you're going to run the business?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, we could we could have a video that's 10 hours, and I could talk, I could talk about that for days. I'll try to give a high level overview on how I see that playing out. So I'll start with like the initial idea, or we've always from the beginning been what we were calling the multicultural mafia, right? So we're not totally inspired by La Cosa Nostra and the mafia movies that you see, in The Godfather. And now you know don't get me wrong, those are huge influences. And we even
Mhm.
we have our own little puppeteer hand that we have above the A in our logo. um, but we wanted to be broader because there's quote unquote mafias all around the world, right? You've got the Yakuza, you've got the Triad, you've got the Kangpai in Korea, you've got, I mean, there's so many different iterations of this organized familial type organization all around the world, these crime syndicates. Now I will say, I think I said this on your first video,
Mhm.
we are not going to participate in anything illegal, right?
Right.
This is a theme, this is a lore, this is a game, right? So it's like it's the same concept, like, oh, if you play Call of Duty, you're murdering people in the game. It's a video game, okay? It's not real. Like, people aren't going to play Call of Duty and then go murder people in the real world. So
Mhm.
I think, yeah, that's an important distinction. But yeah, over time, I think we're going to be extremely diverse, right? We're going to incorporate all types of different mafia lore that we see globally. And also, Star Atlas is space exploration themed, right? So we're
Right.
kind of in the context of Star Atlas metaverse, excuse me, we're kind of like a space mafia,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's exciting to see. Are there, like, now within that, of course, there's a vast, variety of careers. Um, is there one that's kind of the prevalent one of the guild?
Sure, yeah. I think the thing that I am most interested in is this idea of business creation.
Hmm.
So when you think of the mafia, like let's use the American mafia as an example. They had they had their arm in just about everything you can think of. I mean, I'm talking gasoline, trash management, casinos, strip clubs. Like, there's so many different avenues that the mafia kind of had their hands in, right? And I
Hmm.
think the way that we want to structure it is we want to provide infrastructure for people who want to like build businesses. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
for instance, we just made one of our new members, Isabella Electrum, and she is a virtual dancer. And she brought me 1,000 word Word document, basically on the infrastructure of strip clubs, right? And so I'm sitting here
Hmm.
thinking, okay, well, this is something that once we have a DAO, we want to fund, right? So
Hmm.
so she can clearly, brilliant girl. Clearly, she has the mind for running that business. We want to
Hmm.
use the DAO to fund that, right? And so I think
Right.
that's kind of the idea, is just having these different businesses that we fund with with the DAO, and I think it's going to be good.
I swear we're on the same wavelength, because that's like that's where Marna's going as well. It's
Right,
like
right,
it's just kind of
exactly.
natural. It kind of
Yep,
evolves.
kind of like a sub DAO. It's like a sub
Yeah,
DAO, honestly. Yeah.
exactly. Now maybe, going off this, let's talk about development then, maybe a little bit. I know that you're interested in like some of this third party, development that's going to come out of all of this. Do you want to touch on some of that?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. So I think one thing we're really interested in too, and this will probably be a sub DAO of its own. Um, we're really interested in this idea of bounty hunting, right? And
Hmm.
bounty hunting is just an example, right? Because your question was a bit broader, but I'll use bounty hunting as an example because it's one
Okay.
of the things that we've already started working on.
Hmm.
Um, so this idea of bounty hunting, and granted, we'll have to see, how Star Atlas incorporates it, right? Because I think, you know, depending on, like, they could build a really, really robust bounty hunting system, and there's no need to, further it or develop it any further, and then that's fine. Then we won't build anything. We'll just kind of build a business around that system. Um, but I also think that they're mostly focused on like the broader game, and it's going to be up to the community once this thing is completely decentralized to build on top of it. And
Hmm.
so we kind of have a bunch of ideas on what we are going to build if these things aren't built already.
Okay.
I know I've been on a few spaces with Moonman, and because
Hmm.
he's probably the most prevalent, well-known bounty hunter in the Star Atlas metaverse so far, and so we've definitely had a bunch of discussions on how this would work. But like some of the things that we want to see, and if they aren't built by Star Atlas, then we're gonna formulate a team and build these things ourselves. But it would be nice if you're flying in your spaceship and you can look to a screen. If you can look at a screen in your spaceship, maybe it's to the left or right, or I don't know, maybe it's right above the steering wheel or something, but you can kind of see like where all the bounties are, the name of the person, the handle of the person, the
Hmm.
bounty, who set the bounty, what the price of the bounty is, like a general location of where they're at, so you can fly to that galaxy or that solar system or whatever. Um, that would be good. I know I've also spoken with Carminole from the Bounty Bar.
Right.
That's a really cool, really interesting thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have some kind of joint venture where we develop like a I don't know, different technologies that would go in that bounty bar that would make it a really, really neat place to be. Yeah, but I think this idea of third party development, this is where you're going to see Star Atlas go from a video game, a blockchain video game, to a world, a brand new world, a brand new universe, an actual metaverse, right? Is where people
Hmm.
are building, they're expressing their creative side, right? And they're building essentially a second life.
Right.
So it's gonna be
Yeah,
good. It's gonna be good.
I agree. Now that's the part I'm like, I love MMOs, so I'm all about Star Atlas. But that second part where we all start, building or voting on each other's
Yes,
projects to be
yes.
brought in, that's gonna be a fun time.
Here's the beautiful thing too. Let's say the time comes around and Star Atlas is completely decentralized. If we brought a strong enough proposal to the DAO, we actually wouldn't even have to fund it ourselves. Now we expect and we project that by that time we can fund whatever project we want to get into. But let's take someone that's smaller, someone that's just now getting into the metaverse. If they bring a really robust proposal to the DAO can actually vote on funding that project, right? If they're let's say somebody else comes along and they want to build this bounty hunter infrastructure, right? And they've got plans and they've got a team of people. They could set a proposal in the DAO, and people and polis holders would vote, and they could end up developing out that entire section of the metaverse, right? So it's
Hmm.
it's it's going to be so cool, right? That's why DAOs are so awesome, is because they can fund what the people want to see, right?
Right. Exactly. So speaking of all these possibilities, let's kind of get into like development. I hear that you guys might be working on a few things. Is there like any alpha you can give
the
us?
the alpha leaks. Yeah, maybe
Yes.
actually, you know what? Yeah, maybe I can because I know a lot of members in the Atlessio family are going to watch this, so
Awesome.
I'll reward them for tuning in and staying to
Yes.
the till the end of the video.
Let's go.
Okay. So let me actually give you a high level overview, kind of what we are working on, and since this is the lore video, I'll just kind of stay within the realm of that.
Okay.
So we've got 3 conciliaries, and if the viewer knows anything about the Mafia structuring, the conciliare is like a trusted advisor to the Don, right?
Mhm.
And eventually one day, once people can earn a primary source of income, these consiglieres will be underbosses and then eventually bosses, right? They just bring so much value to the table that it's really unmatched. So I'll kind of walk you through like the 3 main projects we're working on right now, and maybe I'll give a little alpha leak at the end.
All right.
So the first and foremost is basically content creation in the form of like short stories, right?
Okay.
So we have one consigliere right now. He goes by the pseudonym AG, and he's basically constructing like this short story lore infrastructure, basically. And it's going to start off as short stories. Eventually it'll probably be something like videos, like short films, or maybe a short series or something like that. And that'll likely be filmed in VR. I'd love for it to be filmed in Unreal Engine 5 if that's
Yeah.
the time when we start looking to release. But the short stories will definitely be here pretty soon. And that's going to set the tone, right? That's going to give us basically the infrastructure for our lore, right? So if someone wants to know deeper about our specific lore, because look, we're Mafia themed, yes, but we aren't like we're creating a new thing, right? We're going from 0 to 1. We're creating a brand new mini universe, right? A mini universe of lore, right? And so it's going to start with those short stories. And those will set the stage for a lot of the gamification, right, that we want to do, right? So one of the chapters is called the Blood Oath Ritual, right? And this is, if the viewers are familiar with, Mafia lore, is there's an induction process to becoming a made member and ranking up, right? And that's what's called the Blood Oath Ritual. And so that's going to be one of the stories. But yeah, the lore. The lore construction infrastructure. That's what AG is working on. Now we also
Awesome.
have Phil Leotardo. He
Okay.
is he's an Unreal Engine 4 developer that's currently learning the new Unreal Engine 5. And he's going to build us the Atlessio mansion, right? So we're
Awesome.
gonna have a full VR mansion. And I remember Swagner mentioning something about Star Atlas having like a game client. So I'm thinking that means maybe it's like some kind of hosting solution where we can, once we have this mansion built out, we can actually hook it up to Star Atlas, which would be amazing. And that's where things like the Blood Oath Ritual would happen, right? So like a
Right.
new member comes into the Atlessio family, and they prove loyalty, they prove value. Then what we're going to do is we're all going to suit up in VR, and we're going to go into the Atlessio mansion, and we're going to conduct the Blood Oath Ritual, right? The induction process of becoming a made member. So yeah, that's the first 2, and then the third one. The third one. Here's where the alpha leak comes. So
All
I'll
right.
give you some backstory. So um, he goes by Jack Stone. He's a brilliant artist, 3D artist. His Twitter handle is at JackStone007, and oh man, his artwork is just mind blowing. And so I made him made the second I saw his artwork, basically. Of course he did a few projects for me, but the second I saw the artwork, I was like, yep, we got to have you on.
Yeah.
He's building out these 3D randomly generated NFTs. And
Okay.
basically, let's see, what do I want to say? How do I want to formulate this alpha leak? Basically, here's what I'll say. It's not Ooster, but it is highly on theme with Ooster. It's clearly Mafia theme, right? So there is kind of a synergy, like I said, not Ooster, but same realm of Ooster type theme. And then of course the Mafia theme as well. And we are hoping that within the next week or 2, I think we are close enough, we're far enough developed that we're hoping in the next week or 2 to provide the first official sneak peek of the Atlessio Family NFTs.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm so excited, and I know for everyone watching, I know I've been talking about this for months now. But we finally made enough progress that I think we can start sharing some sneak peeks.
Heck yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
uh no,
Awesome.
you guys, you're doing it right, Um you're really building out the team. I know we're like mostly just centered on like lore and story and right now, but like everything you do is just so, well thought out and built. So congratulations. I cannot wait to see the reveal of these NFTs, hear those short stories, see the mansion. Super exciting
Yes.
stuff. So,
Yes. You're definitely invited. Everyone from Amarna is definitely invited to the
let's go.
Atlessio mansion.
All right.
110%.
Let's go. Well, man, thank you for coming on. We'll have to do this again here soon, but
Yes,
um
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. Guys, go in the description right now. Check out the Alessio family. If you have any questions for them, leave them in the comments below as well. Maybe we can make a third episode out of all of this. So, appreciate you again, Don Kane, for coming on, spending some time with me over here at Atlas Theory.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much for having me on. And just a message to all the viewers: if you come into the Discord, we might make you an offer you can't refuse.
Hey.